let's start with the big news that one, Mike Krzyzewski was in the building in Cameron yesterday. Mike Brey, his former assistant, played Notre Dame, played Duke. Coach K had not been to a Duke game this year. He had been to a St. John's game just recently, a week or so ago. Remember the St. John's AD, Mike Cragg, was an associate AD for 30 years with K at Duke. So part of it was that. Part of it was, I think he was in New York to watch his grandson play. I think he's at NYU now. So that made sense. Every time I asked anybody this year, and I only asked, I remember in Portland, I asked a little bit. I was like, is K going to show up for any of these games? No, it's tough for him. I said, well, what about, game of Cameron? Well, it'd be tough to get him in and out with security and all that. I'm like, it's such a crock of shit. If he wants to come to a game, he can come to a game with security around. Nobody's going to bother him. He can get in and out, no problem. So last night he shows up, plenty of time before the game, hanging out, sitting next to his wife, watches the game, and he leaves right when the buzzer ends. And, it's weird to me, Rob. I don't know how you feel about this, but I'm not judging him at all. Like, I just feel like, why wouldn't you want to come and support your player who just took over the program that you built for 40 years? You should be able to. And yeah, I know people may judge him a little bit, and the camera's on him. Mark Mitchell hits us 3 at the end of the game to ice it, and K has no reaction, where, some people would say, look at Roy Williams in the stands, and he's dancing with his wife. He's having fun in the crowd, all that. To each their own. I'm not judging them. I'm just saying, like, be there. If you want to go to a game, go to a damn game.
But maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he's like, dude, I've done this for 40 years. I've been in the gym for 40 years. I can watch at home on TV. And I agree. He should support John. And I'm sure he wants to support John. And I'm sure he is supporting John. But I think, yeah, right. But maybe he just doesn't want to go. Maybe he thinks I've been doing this forever and I'd rather do other things. Well, we don't know. We don't know that. But I think it is cool that he got to go back. And was it handled appropriately? Like, yeah. It was, yeah. Then maybe now he'll see that and he'll go to more games.
That's what I'm hoping. He's gone to 2 college games now in the last 2 weeks. 1 at Cameron. So he's kind of, that's it. He's done it. So it's not going to be quite as big a deal. Maybe it's a big deal if he goes to the Duke Carolina game next year or something like that. Right. But, he can go to a game now. All right, he's already been. Not that big a deal. You already did it once. Yeah, I think, again, it was just interesting how the first one was for Mike Brey, a guy that he hired that really was never part of, like, the Duke family, right? He didn't play there.
Right.
Kay hired him, but Brey is one of the best dudes in the profession. You know him. I've known him a long time. And we did a pod when it came out. I forget the day now that it came out, but it was while I was in Charleston, so it had to be, I don't know, early January maybe?
Yeah, it was around
about a month ago when it came out that, and I'd heard it. Brey went in to Jack Swarbrick and they had a talk, and it was basically like Brey kind of saying to Swarbrick, the AD at Notre Dame, you know what, this isn't working anymore. This isn't working. It's not good for me. It's not good for Notre Dame. I want to make sure this program's in a good spot. I'm going to step down at the end of the year. So they put out a release, and everybody kind of assumes at that point he's retiring. Shit, I did a pod with Jordan Cornette and a bunch of the former Notre Dame guys. Scott Martin was on it, your boy. And it was basically like an ode to Mike Brey. So I thought he was retiring at that point. And then I started to hear some stuff in the last couple of weeks that no, Mike Brey still wants to coach. So I hit him up the other day. Sure enough, he's like, yeah, Jeff, like I still want to coach. I'm not done here. If somebody will still have me, at a job that I want, I'm still in. And, so I thought it was kind of cool that Case showed up for Brey, although it's kind of weird because he's not retiring now. So that was the
but part. It is the end of a great run at Notre Dame. I mean, he has been there since the early 2000s. Think about how long he's coached there, from like Chris Thomas and Chris Quinn on through this year. It's been an amazing run at a school that cares so much about football.
Yep.
He's a great dude.
If you know his,
ambassador. If you know his players love him.
Love him.
Guys love
Love him.
him. At Luke Herringoti's wedding, Coach Brey was there. All those guys, you can tell they look up to him and they have a great relationship with him. So it's been an incredible run for Mike Brey. I'm fascinated to see where he goes. He's got some DC ties, I guess. Georgetown, I don't know is he a candidate for that job?
I think he'll be on the list. I don't know how high. If this had been 5-6 years ago, I would say it would have been a no-brainer.
Yeah.
They've fallen off at Notre Dame. They've fallen off. I mean, there's no secret. And I think part of it was staff. And I think part of it was, you're getting a little bit older. You're getting stale at Notre Dame. It's a tough job.
It is a tough job.
He had done it a certain way, right? Redshirting dudes and being older. And now the problem is everybody's older.
Yeah. Right. Well, and if you redshirt, you could just lose kids. And you get a kid in Blake Wesley that you're like, oh, yeah, he's going to be a good player for us. And then he's a really good player for you in 1 year, and he's to the NBA.
Right.
I mean, that changes a lot there.
They don't have a guy. JJ Starling's not a guy yet.
Right. He's young. He's young.
He's a good
player.
So
where else do you think that it could be a landing spot for Mike Brey?
I would say if St. John's opens up, there's some connections there again. Mike Cragg being Duke, there's K.
But didn't St. John say that's not opening up?
No, it never said that. They'll see if they can raise some money. It'll be about money for St. John's, whether they can part ways with Mike Anderson. So there's still a chance that they make a move there. What would be, like, to me, a really good mid would be great for Brey. Like if Pat Kelsey gets a high major job and like Charleston opens up, I could see that'll be a job that every coach in America.
I mean, that'd be a sweet place to live.
Right.
And then you can win there too on top of that.
And you get to be, probably neighbors with me next year in the winter.
Are you in the market to buy in Charleston now?
So if anybody's listening, if you know of a really good place south of Broad, it's
got to be over 2.5 million though for Jeff's budget. Nothing under 2.5.
It depends if we have to pay you big money for the pod now. Now your demands have gone up. Your demands have gone up after this.
Yeah, my demands of can I get a credential to the Final Four have just gotten out of control.
Out of control.